What up, cuckolds? It's your boy, the Hater, and it's been a long day, but I'm here with a video for all you bitch asses. Today's video is going to continue the theme of this week, which is that nobody really cares about Cody Rhodes, or CM Punk for that matter. Now, I can already see all the haters out there typing, cry more. As you can see, I'm laughing, I'm not crying. The only people crying are Cody Rhodes, which is what he typically does, and all his pussy-ass fans. But that's neither here nor there. The truth is this. Find 10 people, right? It can be any 10 people that you know in your personal life that don't watch wrestling. You know, the less wrestling they watch, the better for this experiment, right? And then show them a picture. Just Google The Rock and Roman Reigns and find one of those pictures where they're facing off. And then compare that to a picture of Cody Rhodes facing off with Seth Rollins, right? And ask them, which is more interesting, right? Without them even knowing what we're talking about. Which is more interesting? That's the problem here, right? We do not have an understanding as to what does and does not make good wrestling anymore, right? The truth of the matter is that everybody who is honest knows that Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins are obviously the undercard in this pay-per-view, right? Now, WWE, like everything else in the world, has lowered the standards. So where there was one main event, now there's somehow two main events because there's two nights of WrestleMania. The entire implication of WrestleMania is that it's one event, right? But now, if you want to have, a 10-night main event, right? A 10-night WrestleMania, then 10 people, or at least 20 people, I should say, are going to main event WrestleMania any given year, right? But then it loses its charm, right? At this point, it doesn't make any sense anymore. So I and many others prefer to just count the real main event as the main event, right? That is the last match of night 2. The last match of night 1, nobody cares about, right? That's just like the appetizer, Oftentimes, it's not even the most interesting match in night 1, right? And there's like 3 matches on night 2 that blow it out of the water, right? So, for example, if you had Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, I think it was. I don't remember. The one where Bianca Belair won her title, right? It's like, at that pay-per-view, we had, Edge versus Orton, right? Like, nobody gives a damn about Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair when on the next night, like in the co-main event, you have Edge and Orton, right? It's not even close. So with all that being said, cuckolds, right? The truth is, nobody really does care about Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Nobody really cares. Like, they just pretend they care, right? It's just like when Daniel Bryan, got his push to be like the champ. Nobody really cared, right? It really is a flash of the pan type thing. Like The Rock, for better or for worse, and I don't like Dwayne Johnson as an individual, I don't think, right? I don't know him personally. But the character of The Rock has been over for like 30 years at this point, right? Or at least 25 years, right? And with that being said, it's too consistent for it to be a coincidence, right? Whereas if you look at, let's say, Daniel Bryan has not been over consistently for more than a few years. Kofi Kingston, nobody gives a damn when Kofi Kingston comes out, right? Like, the pop that Kofi Kingston got when he won against Daniel Bryan was huge, right? And it just really shows how stupid and simple the fan base is, right? Because he comes out right now, several years later at the Royal Rumble, not one peep. Nobody gives a damn at all, right? Nakamura, people were losing their minds over Nakamura. They would sing along his theme song. Now the hype is over. Nobody really gives a rat's ass, so we've all moved on, right? And what do you say about that? There's nothing to say. It's a wrap. It's over. Nobody cares. You understand me? Now, with all that being said, we once again have to circle back to the reality, right? The reality is that everyone, even the smarks and the marks and everyone, prefers The Rock and Roman Reigns, right? That's obviously more compelling than the same thing as last year, right? Even Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, the second time it happened, was less special than the first time. So much so that they had to add the stipulation of career versus streak, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be very compelling. Now, with all that being said, the question, of course, becomes, why is it? Why is it that people pretend to care? And this is something that's been bothering me all day, right? Because I was trying to get my finger on it. I think I got it finally, but it took a while to get there, right? Because, the neck beard is strong, right? The neck beard is complicated. So what is it that makes people pretend to care about things like CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Daniel Bryan? And I got it. It's a form of mass hysteria, right? There is no reason to like Cody Rhodes other than liking Cody Rhodes is what the quote-unquote good wrestling fan does, right? That's it. But as I pointed out several videos ago in a slightly different context, how is it? Like, do you think it's possible that WWE really is just mishandling every wrestler that's good and pushing every wrestler that's bad? Or could it possibly be that the wrestlers that don't get pushed, people like Dave Meltzer pretend are better than they are, and the wrestlers that do get pushed, Dave Meltzer tries to hunker down, right? Think about it, right? Everybody knows, inherently, everybody knows that Kenny Omega will never be Roman Reigns, right? Roman Reigns, if he really wanted to, he could learn to do the best dragon suplex in the business. It's a simple move. Like, I honestly believe I could learn how to do a dragon suplex as good as Kenny Omega in 10 minutes. You know? I just need someone, like I can do it on a stuffed animal or a small person or a willing participant like Kenny Omega does, right? Right? It's easy. It's easy to do wrestling moves. Wrestling is not a real sport. So the actual quote-unquote art or athleticism of wrestling, for the most part, is not that hard, right? Like Kenny Omega, for example, doesn't do the moves that, I don't know, let's compare him to Rey Fenix or even Sammy Guevara, right? Like, I can tell you right now, I can definitely do a swanton. I can maybe do a 450 if I jump from a high enough platform and give it my all. But I don't think I'm pulling off a 630, right? I don't think that's happening, you know what I'm saying? Now, Sammy Guevara can do that, right? But I sure as hell, I can tell you right now, I can do the V-trigger. I sure as hell guarantee you I can do a stunner. I can sure as hell guarantee you I can do every single move Kevin Owens does. All of them. I can do them all, right? Now, it might take me a few days of practice up in this piece, but I can do them, right? And if you take someone that's far more athletic than me, like, I don't know, Logan Paul, for example, right? He can do all the moves that Kenny Omega does, and probably better than him, right? Like, Logan Paul is more athletic than Kenny Omega, right? Logan Paul is more athletic than almost every wrestler in WWE, with the exception of maybe Ricochet, right? And the Creed brothers, who are like real ones, right? But beyond that, Logan Paul is the most legit guy they got, right? It's like, it started off as a joke, but it's like, in reality, it's like, you know, what do you think would happen, right? But the truth is, with respect to people like Cody Rhodes, right? The narrative has gone so far out of hand, that people are willing to just accept what they're being told, right? And they're just being told that Cody Rhodes is the next one, right? He's the next one. He's the next one that you go, whoa, 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 to during his theme song, right? He's the next one. He's the next Daniel Bryan. He's the next Fandango. He's the next Nakamura, right? That's all he is. He's just next, right? Cody Rhodes will never be perpetually over. Like, I guarantee you, when Cody Rhodes comes back for some sort of reunion type thing, and I mean, it won't even matter, but let's say he comes back in 15 years, right? Or more like 11 years, because he's only like 10 years younger than The Rock. Imagine that. Just imagine that right there, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Cody Rhodes comes out in 11 years, right? He comes out in 11 years, and do you think the response is going to be the same as when The Rock comes back now? Absolutely not. Nobody's going to give a damn. He's going to get like a Jake the Snake level of response, because he's a Jake the Snake level of talent, right? And that's the fundamental point here, right? We have now gone to a point where, imagine if during the Attitude Era, Steve Blackman, right, got more cheers than The Rock, right? Like, people pretty much accept that Steve Blackman was a legit badass, right? And he probably beat up The Rock. People pretty much accept, that Hardcore Holly would beat up almost everybody except for like maybe the Big Show, right? He was a real tough guy, right? Nobody cared about any of this, right? All that mattered was that you liked the person that was clearly the one you're supposed to like, right? And I will leave this video with a nice metaphor about, let's take the NFL, right? Now, a lot of people out there argue, who's the best quarterback of all time, right? In my opinion, it's obviously Tom Brady, but some people might say like, oh, Dan Marino, Peyton Manning, right? Some people, they're saying Mahomes, right? Now, all of these are whatever. They're not horrible answers, right? But clearly the answer is Tom Brady. But let's just say someone decides to say it's Dan Marino, right? All right, fine, it's Dan Marino, right? But then you'll hear some asshole who'll come out there and you'll be like, what? I think the best quarterback is none other than, Matt Stafford, right? Like, they'll just say some outlandish name that, like, we all know is not the best quarterback, right? They'll be like, I think RG3 was the best quarterback of all time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not him, right? You can make an argument. I mean, in NFL, it's really hard. It's obviously Tom Brady. You can make an argument for, like, some people, like Mahomes, maybe, only because of his age, right? Maybe Dan Marino, right? Like, there's a few players like that, but nobody serious is going to say that Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers are the best quarterback of all time. Aaron Rodgers has played like 30 years in the NFL, has won one Super Bowl. Like, what's so great about him, right? He's a one-time winner. Like, it's like if anyone tries 30, 36, 37 times, they're going to get one eventually, right? So the point is, like, we all know who is the best of the best. In the NBA, it's Michael Jordan, LeBron, and Kobe Bryant. Those are the three acceptable names. Now, some asshole, like I always say, is going to be like, I think Latrell Sprewell was the best player of all time, right? And it's like in this analogy, right? LeBron is maybe Roman Reigns, right? Michael Jordan is maybe The Rock, and Kobe Bryant might be, I don't know, Stone Cold, right? And Latrell Sprewell is Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is the Latrell Sprewell, who I personally like a lot, but he's not Michael Jordan, right? He's the Latrell Sprewell, right, of the WWE. So that's all there is to it, cuckolds.